Welcome to the chapter Excretion. This slide presents the overview of the chapter. Like other animals, humans also have a system that excretes nitrogen wastes like urea, salt, and water through urinary or excretory system. The urinary or excretory system consists of a pair of kidneys, ureters, urinary bladder, and urethra. Here, let us perform an activity to observe the external and internal features of a kidney. Click each tab to know more. As the structure and features of all the mammalian kidneys are similar, let us take the kidney of either a goat or a sheep for observation. To perform this, we require some materials such as freshly collected specimen of kidney of a sheep or goat from the butcher, sharp blade or scalpel, tray, and a beaker full of water or 3D model of kidney. Before performing the experiment, wash the kidney thoroughly such that the blood is completely drained from it. Place the kidney in the tray. Now, with the help of scalpel, open the kidney in longitudinal section under the guidance of a teacher. Observe the internal structure of the kidney. Human being consists of a pair of kidneys. It is observed that the exposed kidney is in the form of a bean shape. They are reddish-brown colored structures present in the abdominal cavity. Two distinct regions are observed, the outer zone made of dark color and the inner zone made of pale color. They are attached to the posterior body wall, one on either side of the backbone. It is observed that right kidney is present at a place slightly lower than the left kidney. It is observed that the length of the kidney is 10 centimeters, breadth is 5 to 6 centimeters, and thickness is of 4 centimeters. It is noted that the outer side of the kidney is in convex shape and the inner side of the kidney is in concave shape. It is observed that the inner side of kidney has a fissure or hillock structure. 3 tubes are coming out of this structure. It is also observed that kidney is made up of several microscopic and thin tubular functional units. The position of right kidney is lower than left kidney because of the presence of liver. The fissure or hillock structure has 3 tubes, one for the entry of a renal artery, second for the exit of renal vein, and the third for the ureter. The function of renal artery is to bring oxygenated blood loaded with waste products. The function of renal vein is to carry deoxygenated blood. The dark-colored outer zone is called as cortex, and the pale inner zone is called as medulla. The functions of kidneys are: they remove waste products from blood. They maintain blood pH. They also control water content of blood. Each kidney consists of more than 1 million, that is around 1.3 to 1.8 million microscopic and thin tubular functions called nephrons or uniferous tubules. Let us discuss the remaining parts of excretory system. First, let us learn about the function of ureters. Ureters. In human body, a pair of ureters is present which is made of smooth muscle fiber. The ureters are whitish, narrow, distensible and muscular tubes. The size of each ureter in adults is 25 to 30 cm long and 3 to 4 mm in diameter. Each ureter arises from hilus of the kidney. From the hilus, the ureter passes down along the sides of pelvis and finally enters at the back of the bladder. The function of ureter is it carries urine from kidney to the urinary bladder. The movement of urine in the ureter is done by peristalsis. At the entrance of the bladder, the ureters are surrounded by valves called ureterovesical valves, which prevent the backflow of urine. Let us learn about the functioning of urinary bladder in detail. Urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is an organ that collects urine excreted by the kidneys before disposal by urination. If the bladder is empty, then it is in the shape of a pear. Urine enters the bladder via ureters and exits through the urethra. The storage capacity of urinary bladder is 300 to 800 ml. Let us learn the functioning of urethra in detail. Urethra. Urethra is a tube that collects urine from urinary bladder and sends it to the outside. The opening of urinary bladder into urethra is guarded by a ring of muscles or sphincter. The size of urethra is 4 cm long in females and about 20 cm long in males. Its opening is separate in females but is in common with the reproductive tract in males, urinogenital duct. Now, let us learn in detail about the structure and function of nephron. Structure of nephron. Generally, each nephron has two parts: Malpighian body, renal tubule. Malpighian body. It consists of a blind cup-shaped border at the end of the nephron called Bowman's capsule and a bunch of fine blood capillaries called glomerulus. These two, Bowman's capsule and glomerulus, together called as Malpighian capsule or venal capsule. Glomerulus develops from efferent arteriole, which gives rise to an efferent arteriole. Basically, the diameter of efferent arteriole is less than efferent arteriole. As the efferent arteriole has narrow outlet, more pressure is exerted in the glomerulus. It functions as a filtration unit. Glomerulus that is accommodated in Bowman's capsule is lined by a single layer of squamous epithelial cells called podocyte cells. These podocyte cells are made up of fine pores between them. This allows passage of materials that are filtered out of glomerulus. There are fine pores between podocyte cells to allow passage of materials filtered out of glomerulus. Renal tubule. Renal tubule consists of three parts. First are proximal convoluted tubule, PCT. Loop of Henle. Second, or distal convoluted tubule, DCT. Distal convoluted tubules, DCT, commences into a collecting tube. Collecting tube forms pyramids and calyces which open into the pelvis. Pelvis directs into the ureter. All the parts of the renal tubule are enclosed by a peritubular capillaries that are formed from efferent arteriole. This peritubular capillaries join together to form renal venule. Now, let us study the mechanism involved in the formation of urine. Formation of urine involves 4 stages: glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion, excretion, concentration of urine. Click each. Glomerular filtration. From renal artery, blood flows into glomerulus under the influence of pressure and due to the narrowness of efferent arteriole. Due to this, it undergoes pressure filtration. Glomerulus filters the waste molecules, urea, salt, glucose, amino acids and water. Blood gets filtered through the kidneys about 6 times a day. Tubular reabsorption. The filtrate obtained from glomerulus is also termed as the primary urine. This is almost equal to blood in chemical composition except the presence of blood cells. This filtrate substance passes into PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. PCT reabsorbs the useful substances present in primary urine such as glucose, amino acids, vitamin C, potassium, calcium, sodium, chlorides, and 75% of water. Tubular secretion. It secretes the waste products from blood capillaries to urinary tubule. After reabsorption of materials in PCT region, the urine travels through the loop of Henle into DCT, distal convoluted tubule. Here, some other waste products from blood are removed like urea, uric acid, extra salt, ions of potassium, sodium, chloride, and hydrogen secretes from peritubular capillaries into DCT. This maintains proper concentration and pH of urine. These wastes are collected as urine and are passed into the bladder. Concentration of urine. 75% of water content of nephric filtrate is reabsorbed in proximal convoluted tubule and 10% of water passes out of filtrate through osmosis in the region of loop of Henle. Further concentration takes place in the region of collecting tubes in the presence of hormone called vasopressin. This hormone gets secreted only when concentrated urine is passed out. In the absence of vasopressin hormone, only dilute urine is secreted. Hormone action maintains osmotic concentration of body fluids. Deficiency of vasopressin causes excessive, repeated and dilute urination, diabetes insipidus. Now, let us learn about micturition. The urine is temporarily stored in the bladder. There are two sets of circular sphincter muscles in the bladder. They are internal sphincter, external sphincter. When the bladder is filling up with the fluid urine, then both these muscles are contracted, so the exit gets closed. But as the pressure of the urine increases, the walls of the bladder are stretched, which causes the upper sphincter to relax. The lower sphincter is under the control of brain. Thus, the urine can still be inhaled until this muscle is relaxed too. Control of urination is impossible by very young child but is gradually learned. When the urinary bladder is filled with 300 to 400 ml of urine, then the urge for micturition occurs. However, urine can be held in the urinary bladder till it gets filled up to the maximum capacity of 700 to 800 ml. At this situation, the urge becomes painful and at last leads to voluntary micturition. Total amount of urine excreted per day may either increase or decrease depending on the intake of fluids like water and fruit juices. But generally, the total amount of urine excreted per day is about 1.6 to 1.8 liters. The table on the screen gives the differences between the kidney and the artificial kidney. Now, let us learn about the excretion in other organisms. Different organisms use different strategies in order to excrete wastes from their bodies. Unicellular organisms. In these type of organisms, particular excretory systems are not present. The waste products from these organisms are removed simply by the process of diffusion from the body surface into the surrounding water. Amoeba, Paramecium, Euglena. The function of contractile vacuole is that it collects excess water and waste from the body and reaches the end of the surface and bursts to release its content to outside. In these type of organisms, excretion mainly takes place through body surface osmosis. Multicellular organisms. These organisms have different excretory organs for removal of waste materials from the body. The structure and functional complexity of excretory organs increase from sponges to humans. The organisms like sponges and coelenterates do not have specific excretory organs in their body as water bats which have in almost all their cells. For the first time, the excretory system is appeared in flatworms, Platyhelminthes. They are flame cells. Now, let us learn how this vital process excretion takes place in plants. Plants do not contain specific organs to excrete the wastes. Plants break down the waste substances much slower than animals. Hence, the accumulation of waste is also much slower. Green plants in darkness and the plants that do not contain chlorophyll produces carbon dioxide and water as respiratory waste products. For example, during the process of photosynthesis, oxygen itself is considered as a waste product. It exits into the atmosphere through stomata of leaves and lenticels of stem. The excess water from plants can be excreted by a process called transpiration and guttation. Waste products in plants may be stored either in leaves or barks or fruits. When the dead leaves, bark and ripe fruits fall from the tree, then along with these, the waste products present in them also exonerates. In some of the plants, waste gets stored in the fruits in the form of solid bodies called raphides. Example, yam. Raphides. These are generally needle-shaped crystals containing calcium oxalate as the monohydrate or calcium carbonate as aragonite. These are found in more than 200 families of plants. These raphides are sharp at one end and blunt at the other end. Some of the plants synthesize several compounds for their own use, especially for defense. Several other plants prepare chemicals and store them in roots, leaves, seeds for protection against herbivores. Most of the chemicals are unpleasant to taste, and some of the chemicals may even be toxic and may kill the animal that eats them. Same as that of human beings, some of the plants also secrete substances, chemicals, to seal the wound when injured. Some of the plants release attractants for other organisms, which help the plants in pollination, seed dispersal, or even in their nutrition. Example, plants having root nodules secrete chemicals to attract rhizobia into the surroundings of the roots and form a symbiotic relationship with the rhizobium. These compounds are called secondary metabolites. Two types of biochemical substances are produced in plants. They are primary metabolites. This include materials like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Secondary metabolites. These are the materials which do not require for normal growth and development. Examples: alkaloids, tannins, resins, gums, latex, etc. These chemicals are produced by the plant for their own use. But even man also is using these chemicals for other benefits. These are generally colored and fragrant. Alkaloids. Alkaloids are nitrogenous byproducts and are poisonous. These are stored in different parts of the plants. Examples: papaver, Rauwolfia, Coffea arabica, tobacco, and datura. Common alkaloids in plants and their uses are given in the tabular column. Tannins. Tannins are the carbon compounds that are stored in different parts of the plant and are deep brown in color. Uses: tanning of leather and in medicines. Examples: cassia and acacia. Resin. Resin occur mostly in gymnosperms in specialized passages called resin passages. Uses: used in varnishes. Example: spinous. Gums. When the branches of plants like neem, acacia are cut, then they secrete a sticky substance called gum. The swelling of gum expands by absorbing water, and it helps in the healing of damaged part of a plant. These are economically valuable. Used as adhesives, binding agents in the preparation of the medicines, food, etc. Examples: neem and acacia. Latex. Latex is a sticky, milky white substance that is secreted by plants. It is a mixture of organic compounds that are produced by some plants in special cells called catechophores. This composition of latex differs from one plant to another. Latex is stored in latex cells or latex vessels. Most of the natural rubber is obtained from a single species of tree named Hevea brasiliensis. Even though this plant is the native of South America, it is mostly found in the region of Southeast Asia, including Malaysia. Latex from Jatropha is a source of biodiesel. Seeds from the Jatropha plant are used for the production of biodiesel. Uses: rubber, biodiesel. Examples: Hevea brasiliensis and Jatropha. Drag and drop puzzle. From the image on screen, identify the parts of the excretory system. The first one is done for you. Drag and drop puzzle. Drag and drop puzzle. From the image on screen, identify the parts of internal structure of kidney. The first one is done for you. Drag and drop puzzle. From the image on screen, identify the parts of structure of the nephron. The first one is done for you. Think and discuss. Drag and drop the options onto the table based on the type of excretory system present in the given organisms respectively. Think and discuss. Answer the given questions by choosing the right option. Explanation. Alkaloids are nitrogenous byproducts and are poisonous. These are stored in different parts of the plants. The leaves of the Nicotiana tabacum, tobacco plant, is used as insecticide. The roots of Rauwolfia serpentina plant is used as a medicine for snakebite. The fruit of Papaver somniferum plant is used as painkiller. Pyrethroids alkaloid is present in chrysanthemum. Attempt the following questions to check your understanding. The following questions to check your understanding.